So we're 4 months into a new year, and we're 9 months into my time with you as your interim minister. And I don't think it's any accident that we are in a season of new birth here today. 9 months, springtime, resurrection. I've encouraged you all to look at who and what you are since I've been here. You've taken the workshops, you've taken the classes, you've done some visioning work, and then you've done some more visioning work, and you've come up with some things. And I hope that you've taken all of that and not only applied it personally, but also thought about the things you learned about yourself in terms of how it can apply in this community. I have also spoken to you many times about one of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes that says, "Principle is not bound by precedent." And once again, I will just say, what that means is we live in principle here. You know, we announce our vision and our mission statement now at the beginning every Sunday. We are a spirit-centered, vision-led, consciousness-driven, inclusive spiritual community here to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. That's all principle, guys. That's principle. And our mission, to create a sacred place for spiritual practice and foster our beloved community. That's principle. Now we get to do that and be that without saying, yeah, but it used to be like this. Without saying, yeah, but it happened like that. The past is done. No longer relevant. No longer with the power to affect your current decisions. It is done. Now, if it's not done, if you're sitting in your chair and you're going, yeah, but, no, what about this and what about that? Come see me, call me, we'll have a chat. We'll have a chat about that. We are not limited by what happened in the past. And what I'm seeing going on here in this community is that for most of you, you're saying, yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. That is why you're in the middle of a community-wide resurrection here. But I want to also talk a little bit about holistic growth. And I want to present something to you holistically that I don't know if you've ever considered this or not, but one of the things we teach around here is called triune nature. You know, and it speaks to it in this circle. We've got 3 parts to it. In traditional religion, they talk about Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We talk about spirit, soul, body. It's not separate stuff. Spirit, soul, body is all a part of us. So when we're looking at growth and we're looking at holistic growth, we have to look at all 3 of those things within ourselves. We are spirit, we are soul, we are body. And, you know, we have this circle that encloses it all, which is like the holistic wholeness of it all. And the top third, spirit, the middle third, soul, the bottom third, body. And the top third is so interesting because, you know, I looked up, there's a science, in our Science of Mind textbook, because we do have a textbook, there's a chart in the back of the book. There's a series of charts. And one of these charts perfectly explains what I'm speaking to here about this triune nature of ours. We are one with God. It's oneness. That's a principle. God is not something separate from us. We are one with that thing. That's what that top third speaks to. The middle section has words like subconscious and unconscious and consciousness. It's all about our consciousness. It also has words like race suggestion in there, which is referring to the human race as a whole. Because we are one in the top third, we are all one, and because God is everywhere present, that means we are all connected on very, very deep levels. I'm connected to you and you and you and you, and you're connected to me. And all those people out there in the world, we're connected to them. And they're connected to us. And so we get to do our spiritual practices and do our work and show up in the world as delightful little emissaries of God, spreading love and joy and compassion around this world. And when we encounter anything unlike that in the world and we begin to feel that, and we begin to feel the dismay and the distress and the anguish and the anger that's happening out there in the world today, we get to say, no, that's not who I am today. And we get to return to our truth and use this triune nature thing, and go to the top and go where we're once again one with Spirit, and think about all those qualities of Spirit and remember that we are those qualities too. And then we get to resurrect ourselves in our own little individual unique way. And then of course the bottom third is the body, this physical thing that we exist in, this thing that kind of shows up sometimes in ways that are not too convenient. So in order to grow holistically, we have to address all three areas. And we get to do that on a personal level within ourselves, but we also get to do that on a community-wide level. And folks, this is why I get to say that you folks as a community are in smack dab middle of a resurrection right now. Because look at what just happened this morning. Some of you were here yesterday and you saw the physical, the lower third physical manifestation of the work we've been doing. Some of you walked in here this morning and saw it. The chairs up front. We've been rearranging furniture, guys. That's the resurrection. So we rearranged the furniture, and I kid you not, 3 ladies walked in this morning. They looked at the chairs and they said, "What are these chairs here for?" And I said, "You weren't the only one, Val. We had 3 women. What are these chairs here for?" "They're for you to sit in." They're for you to sit in. There's other things going on. We got stuff going on in the garden. A couple people showing up, volunteering, planting in the garden. We got redecorating plans. Yeah, Vicky's on a mission. Right in the middle, smack dab of a resurrection, you guys. And that's a beautiful thing to see. That's an absolutely beautiful thing to see. Now, when you start growing holistically and start doing stuff that affects us on all 3 levels and going into that triune nature, sometimes we get a little uncomfortable. Because in the middle of this resurrection, we're in the middle of a place, we're in a place where we're not quite sure what's going to come of this activity that we've been engaged in. We are not quite certain what's going to happen. There's some uncertainty going on. Now, when there's uncertainty going on, sometimes people behave in less than dignified ways. Yeah, but you've been on vacation. You've been on vacation. So I just want to share with you guys something, and I'll show it to you later if you want to see it close up. This is a gift from Cindy. And on the back it says, live in grace and dignity. There she is, trying not to raise her hand, but yeah, there she goes. What Cindy did not know is that when I work with people one-on-one and they're having tough times, one of the things I always say to them is, you can and you will get through this with grace and dignity. That's one of my favorite phrases. So as this community is in the midst of this resurrection, and you start to feel a little uncertain, and you start to behave in ways that might be less than graceful or dignified, guess what you get to do? You get to remember love. You get to remember that love is that thing, that God stuff, that one piece that we can all identify with that is an aspect of spirit. Some people call it faith, and honestly in my talk I was going to talk about faith, and then I thought, no, Love is more relatable. Love is something I can feel. Love is something I can sink my teeth into. Love works when nothing else does. Love is the one thing that will bring comfort and peace to you when nothing else will. Love is both a foundation and a pathway. Love is how we move successfully through our triune nature from spirit through soul to body. Love is how we get from thought down to manifestation successfully. Love is what opens us up into possibilities that have never been considered before. Love is what allows us to trust and feel faith and just know that even if we don't know what's going to happen in the future as a community, it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Because that's what you guys are being and doing and showing up as right now. In spite of the fact that you don't want to sit in the front of the chairs. What is up with that? Some of you, the middle section's doing pretty good, but that side section over there, what's with all those vacant chairs? Come on, guys. Hopefully the camera's not seeing that. It's seeing that middle section. You guys are showing up in absolutely beautiful and glorious ways. But sometimes you're going to feel uncertain on this journey. And so I want to encourage you to feel the love. You know, if uncertainty calls you to behave with intolerance, love will call you back to loving, non-judgmental acceptance. If uncertainty calls you to behave in an undignified manner, love will call you back to grace. If uncertainty calls you to want to control things in your fear, love will replace that fear, and the controlling behavior will just float away. So you get to have love and you get to be love. You know, they speak about love. Love moves mountains. Love creates something new and wonderful out of something that has served its purpose. That's another thing about the past, you guys. You know, it got you to where you are today. If you guys hadn't experienced the things you had in the past, you would not be here today in the middle of this resurrection as a community. That's love operating in your life, even if you could not feel it or know it at the time. So you get to feel that. You get to know that. You get to be that love. You get to continue on that pathway as we move through the rest of this journey. Oh my goodness. And so, after the service today, and after we eat, we're going to talk a little bit about possibilities for the future for this community. I really hope you all will show up and explore with Ken and I the possibilities, because there's a bunch of them, and they're all fun, and they're all beautiful. And if you begin to feel uncertainty, share those feelings with somebody. Certainly you can share it with me anytime. Find someone who's currently feeling the love. Say, I'm not feeling the love right now. And now listen with compassion and love and help you feel better. And then in a couple of days, that person will say, I'm not feeling the love right now. And they'll come back to you, and you'll be feeling the love. And in this way, you hold each other up, and you support one another. And you feel the love, and you be the love. And you participate in the beautiful resurrection that this community has going on right here and right now. Oh my goodness. So, in closing, you are the resurrection. It's Easter Sunday. Resurrection isn't something that happened out there with some guy that is actually got some beautiful things to say to us. Resurrection is something we have going on inside here. You are the resurrection.